At the IT Symposium early May at the Porsche Museum in Stuttgart, we'll focus on the software-defined car. Software-defined cars will be the biggest challenge for the automotive industry within the next decade. Of course, as regards the product, however, also within the manufacturing processes. The Chinese tech giant Huawei plays an important role within that story. Thus, we are proud to have Huawei and Cesim Demir with us at the Congress and today. Cesim Demir is CTO for manufacturing and automotive industry solutions at Huawei in Munich. And Cesim Demir has more than 25 years together with the automotive industry, for example, with Daimler, with General Motors, and other car makers and suppliers. Let's take a quick insight with Cesim Demir into the issue. Cesim, electrification and digitalization of the vehicles are moving ahead, but are all business processes ready for that? And if not, what are the challenges in the implementation?
Thanks a lot, first of all, for the short introduction and being here on this platform to talk about these topics. So this is actually the right question because, as you said, electric cars and software-defined cars are the future, but it's not all about the car itself, but also as well how those cars can be produced, how those cars can be serviced, and so on. So our, especially my role here is to support enterprises to move ahead, to get prepared in terms of manufacturing processes and business processes to support those software-defined cars. If it's coming to the manufacturing process, also together with software-defined car, the flexibilization and individualization is as well moving rapidly ahead. This means also flexibilization of the manufacturing processes need to be done. We are ending up in the so-called wireless factory topics. And here, exactly here, we are leveraging technologies to move ahead in terms of wireless factory and especially to support the assembly processes in a very flexible way. And also, this is one of the actually main challenges is about the investments and about costs to move ahead. And this means how to come up to a cost-optimal network in the manufacturing shops to support those future-print cars.
So we see it's not just a big issue to have the technology for the in-car, but also the manufacturing process with a lot of investments. If we look at the status of the last mile software download into the vehicle in the plant, what is the current status on that? And what do you think is the proper technology for the final assembly to integrate all the technologies, the processes and the manufacturing processes into the car?
You know what software in the car means. I don't need to explain that, I think. So we know that in the small cars, we have already today around 2 gigabyte data and software in the car. In the big luxury cars, it's around 10 to 12 gigabyte data and software. But we know as well in the next 2-3 years, it will rapidly go up to 40 gigabyte. And we are even not talking about autonomous cars. We are still talking about cars which having a similar architecture like today. And to cover all of that, it doesn't work actually with today's technologies like Wi-Fi 4, Wi-Fi 5, and LTE. That's why in the car today, I would say mainly the software is getting pre-flashed from suppliers, and in the last mile area, in the final assembly, only parameter and configuration data are getting downloaded to the car. But you know as well what is the importance of having the opportunity to have a last mile software download, because you know the importance of the software upgrades, which is, I don't need to explain the reasons behind it, that there is a necessity to update software in the last mile without having the issues. If there's a software upgrade needed, that enterprise or car maker is sending all of the ECUs, the electronic control units, back to the supplier and bringing and becoming a new upgraded software. So the current status is actually the car makers are piloting based on 5G and Wi-Fi 6 the capabilities, how to cover that. And we did already a very deep dive analysis together with our customers and partners in terms of is the Wi-Fi 6 the proper technology for it, or is it 5G? So this question cannot be answered clearly. Means if we are talking about a smaller plant where the requirements to the bandwidth are not that high, like a manufacturing site, a small site producing just less number of cars and small cars, then we are sure, based on the analysis, that Wi-Fi 6 is capable to cover that, especially with Huawei's Wi-Fi 6, with providing double time more bandwidth than others. So it means here Wi-Fi 6 could help. But if you look to the bigger plants, bigger factories where multiple car models are getting produced, and especially in those plants, the luxury cars are getting produced, then Wi-Fi 6 is actually not anymore the right proper technology for such kind of plant because of the limited bandwidth. And 5G would be the more better technology to cover the requirements in terms of the bandwidth for such plants.
So it ain't so easy to implement at the last mile in the production process, the software to download it into the different cars we see. What other issues do you see and challenges in the manufacturing process going into the software-defined cars? And what especially is the USP, the strengths of Huawei doing that business?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the software download use case or scenario, which is actually just one of the scenarios. One big challenge, one big obstacle is, as I mentioned, is actually the cost factor. Means if I said in a bigger plant, 5G would be the proper technology. But even though if a customer deploys 5G, there will be a lot of other end devices in the plant which will not support 5G, and bringing and enabling them to provide 5G capability make actually from our point of view no sense because of the cost issue. So means at the end it's more important to have a more the most convergent architecture, which brings actually the cost benefits to the customer. So to overcome the obstacle of the cost and investment. But this investment, especially, if we are comparing the topic of the investment versus business cases, there is actually no one dedicated business case that argues about the investment. So means the challenge is coming then to that enterprises need to define a set of different use cases, different scenarios that requires the new technology, that the investment into the new technology, because we are talking about a horizontal investment, that the horizontal investment can be divided and can be covered by cost savings, which are coming from different scenarios, like machine communication or machine-to-machine communication, like robot control, like positioning and so on. I just mentioned Wi-Fi 6 and 5G, but it's not all about 5G and Wi-Fi 6. There are also other wireless technologies like ultra-wideband for positioning, like Bluetooth for sensor use cases, like RFID for tracking, and so on and so on. Means combining all of those technologies to provide the most convergent network. This is actually the benefit and the strengths of Huawei, where we, as our core competence, Wi-Fi 6 and 5G, we are already orchestrating those technologies in a most integrated way. And we are working with partners together to enable the existing with ultra wideband, with Bluetooth, with RFID and Zigbee and so on, to provide a really full set of wireless factory solutions.
So software-defined car is a big topic. It's the software for the in-car, but also we are covering at our IT symposium the production processes to implement the software in a proper way into the car. This was a short intake, a short quick take with Cesim Demir, who will be with us at the IT symposium in Stuttgart, and we will focus on both issues. Looking forward, seeing you in Stuttgart.